It's a very interesting experience to be a mystic and a seer and a prophetess. It means that I have certain relationships with life that other people don't have. And I'm not the only one. This is a time where prophets and prophecies and predictions and understandings and explanations are going to abound. I have been paying attention to this period of time since 1992. And with the election of the new American president, something fractured, something broke, and something began to go out of existence and come into existence. But that's not really the purpose of why I'm talking this morning. I want to talk about your mind. I would like to prepare you for the months ahead. And I would like you not to believe me. What I'd like you to do is have this on hand. Maybe save it in your video folder, or save it on your YouTube, or come to my YouTube and look it up. Because when I talk to you about it today, you may have no reference for it. But I want to make sure that when you have some of the experiences I'm about to describe, that you have a place to go, something to watch, something to look at that takes care of you. So we have been, as a people, as a humanity, we've been moving through stages of consciousness, and we've been pioneers of landscapes, first of our world, of our earth, taking territory, building cities. Then we went through an industrial revolution of building cars and building factories and making things. And then we went through a technology revolution, or a pioneering dynamic of what we now see, which is why I can record this call and why I can have this conversation with you. What we rarely pay attention to is the pioneering or the multidimensional metamorphosis evolution of our brain, of our mind. The father of the study of brain science, I can't remember his name right now, said that the pioneering of the brain will be the new frontier. So I want to say this from two different angles, and I'm probably going to talk about it as much as I can. It's why I'm doing the dimensional activations. It's also why we have the Creation Institute, because in the activity of doing the templates and the craving exercises, the neuroplasticizing of the brain moves out beyond the conversations of the reality that constructs the neurosynapses of your brain. So this isn't an advertisement, but it would be less than gracious if I didn't say that one of the places that I've worked forever, 52 years, is in the ability for a human being to be conscious out beyond the boundaries of the world they were born into, so that they can see, and they can know, and they can be aware, and they can perceive according to their own design. And that while they can interface and use as resources the information around them, that when they process the information, it's processed consistent with who they are, who they came to be, and what they came to do. I never thought that I would have the opportunity for a group of people to create an institute that would hold the practices and the comprehension of what it is to live in unity with life, regardless of what is occurring, regardless of what is around you. To thine own self be true. And frankly, I never thought we'd get to this time. I never thought I would see the time that I've been preparing people for a long time. I knew that something would happen in 2016 and 2017. I knew they would be epic years for human beings and for our planet and our living here. But what I didn't realize, the level of it, the depth of it, the profundity of it. So in the creation exercises, for those of you who have them, please do them, particularly the observings. You don't want your mind to track the opinions and the memes and the beliefs of the reality that you're in, because a lot of those opinions, beliefs, and realities are doing one of two things. They're either saying all is lost, or same old, or I think even worse, they're giving explanations and understanding like a story for you to live into. I'm going to post a picture by Michael Parks. It's a picture of all these individual people in sort of individual settings floating in the air on small pieces of, small slabs of rock. And that's really what we're moving into, or have moved into, actually. So the ability to be sovereign with oneself becomes more and more epic. And there are things that you won't understand that I'm about to say because you don't have the experience yet. Or if you are having the experience, it's still laced by your previous understandings. But there are two things happening within these two things, what telling you how to understand something or what the explanation is for what's going on. Just be careful, because it's to take up some mind space, but we want our mind space to be empty. There'll be times where you go through a sort of a schism of your own mind, because it's in the neuroplasticizing of the brain, the shifting of consciousness in the actual neural pathways of the brain is what is going on now. And human people have a lot of chatter in their head, that what to know, what to do, please explain, help me understand. But I have been saying to my people, please stay where you're standing. What does that mean? Stay with your standing, where you're standing. It means stay where you're standing in your home, in your privacy, in your own depth of relationship to yourself. Stay where you're standing. In a way, close the door to the world. Doesn't mean you can't be in the world, but a lot of you will find yourself withdrawing from conversations, from not wanting to be around people discussing world events or what's happening. You'll want to be quiet. You'll want to watch movies or play games or do nothing. And this period will probably go on between now and April of 2017. Remember, I'm a seer and a prophet. And so it isn't a developmental issue. It isn't the definition of whether you're a good or bad person. It simply means that your processor, your brain mind actually, is trying not to process information based on the local gossip or the local predictions or understandings of what's going on. So it's a very significant moment in time we're in, like you're standing on a rock or sitting on a slab, floating through time and space. It will rearrange itself. Something will begin to occur. I talked about these times as Renaissance times, and Renaissance means that. It's a little bit like a resurrection of who you are, not in relationship to anything around you, but in relationship to yourself. For instance, in my room, my inside room, I have an altar with Buddha and Ganesh because they're beautiful, and my crystal, big crystal geode, and on my wall I have my Buddhist prayer hanging. I have Saima Guru. I have in my other room I have images of the Christ, because I enjoy this company. I enjoy the feeling. I have angels, my children's pictures. I have Michael Parks's pictures. I have Shasta's. Because in this environment of my room, I have a place to stand that keeps me company, allows me to suspend my beliefs or my opinions, allows me to simply enjoy my environment, enjoy where I'm standing, be where I'm standing, sort of in the privacy of my own space, while so much is shifting and changing around us. I don't think it's ours to be part of at this time. When you're in an evolution, when something is morphing, if we try to opinion about it or we try to explain it, we get caught in looping minds, limited to what we've known before. If we can observe and be present to what there is to be present to, and just be there in our own privacy, then the schism of consciousness that we're moving in will simply move from one space of reality to another space of comprehension to another. So just be careful of the stories you're telling yourself. Those stories are only based on the information you've had until now. Trust the times where you feel spatial. Trust the times you even have a slight vertigo. Trust the times that you feel empty-brained. Just over the next 5 months, I want you to trust that there is an evolution, a metamorphic evolution going on. There's also a broader playing field that a lot of humanity will operate in as we leave 2017 and move towards 2018, 2019. It's been amazing to be in readings, and it's been amazing to be doing the dimensional activations, because there's a lot of space in you now, a lot of empty space, and I don't want you to be afraid of it, and I don't want you to fill it with things that ain't necessarily so. And then the last thing I want to say, because I just have to sort of start this conversation, and I know it'll reach the people that it's supposed to reach, and it doesn't have to reach the people that it isn't supposed to reach. But I just want to start into these conversations and attempt them and try to language them, because your perception doesn't yet have access to them as a comprehension. I've already been through it went through it in my 30s and 40s, and my dog just shifted on the bed and knocked over the phone. Okay, Lily. And it's called a schism. And because you're so deeply tied into the world around you, and because you base most of your sense of self over what other people say, and you're looking to find something to believe or explain, it'll take you off on tangents. It'll take you off on mental tangents, and you'll get lost in these illusions of another person's view. It's all right to take in the information. It's not all right to think that's the only thing going on. But I want you to go back to the image of Michael Park's imagery of people floating in time and space on their slab, on their rock slab, being there. It's important to not step off of it, not suddenly be following a train of thought. One of the things I said to my people in the spirals, I said, consider we're in a prophecy. I didn't explain the prophecy or try to tell them what it was or try to teach them to believe it. A prophecy simply means we're in a predicted period of time where from many different avenues of mostly indigenous people, there are stories that are culminating during this time. We don't need to be those stories. In prophecy, things are culminating without our need, without the need of our impact. Another way to say it is something has reached a singularity, and now things are not in our hands. And if things are not in our hands, it's better to just stay on the bus, to just take care of your immediate needs and take care of yourself as best you can, because they're forces greater than ourselves, forces of evolution, forces of shifts of consciousness, that we've reached that fracture where everything will break apart. And yes, it's true, people will go off on these tangents, mistaking the information about what is occurring as their life. But is that really your life? Is your life who the President of the United States is? Is your life the head of your country? Is your life the economic woes? Is your life your job? Your life is whatever is in front of you right now. It's your hands. It's your body. You want to keep a short leash on your mind. Have it be about the Frosty you want, or today, or changing the look of your rooms or your homes, or be busy in your own insularization. Not shielding yourself from the world, but really protecting your own space so that where you're standing, it's beautiful. It's enriching. It's fulfilling. I'm very worried about the people so tied into listening to authorities outside themselves. I'm worried about the people that think that somebody did it to them. I'm worried about the people that feel they have to lash out and hate. Why am I worried? Because it's really possible in a schism to get lost in that schism forever. It's called limbo. So be a tortoise in a shell or an armadillo rolling up, and take care of your immediate needs. And yeah, probably there'll be waves of whatever, fear, anxiety, confusion, emptiness that will roll through you. Because in the body, physical body, where the spirit and flesh dwell, as the neural wiring of the brain unravels, it creates surges of energy through the body that are interpreted in multiple ways. Your job is to go back to a simple norm, to go back to what you love around you, what you love to do, where you feel that the impact of the world can be busy about its business, and you'll take care of your one flower. The other book I recommend you read is The Little Prince. It's a children's book. But it is keep it simple, please, over the next few months. Let the neural wiring of your brain go through the stages of unraveling it needs to go through. Try not to give your voracious mental mind something to gorge on. Try not to believe anything, even me. I'm just asking you to have it be a consideration. And of course, I would recommend doing the courses at the Creation Institute because they give you back your mind. And everything that happens to you, everything you experience is a activity of mind. Your perception. In one room, 6 people will see 6 entirely different things, in entirely different ways. And you want to have your mind back. For those of you that actually do comprehend or have an experience of expanding beyond the edges of the reality that has enrolled you in its validity as it's now falling apart, and we're going beyond that, we're experiencing and beginning to have new experiences, new sensations, new sensitivities, new imaginations, but they aren't formulated yet. They're still in the metamorphic, not yet folded into a solid landscape of what is next. And that's as far as I can go with that, because as human beings, you're so convinced the reality we're born into is the only one that you don't have any place to put people that don't operate in that reality, like myself. So I think that's all the chat I can do today. I'm just going to do Tantra chats because there's just no way to teach right now, because teaching is based on things we've grown to understand. But the future understandings, just even in the next 6 to 7 months, will be very different than the understandings we have now. We now know the body needs things it didn't need a few years ago. The body's metamorphosizing also. You know, we're really talking in 2017 about creating forums where people can begin to track their own body and see what it's responding to and see what it needs now. We are moving into a new experiential actualizing state of existence that many people have never experienced before. And a lot of people still won't, because they're tied into these fragments, these fractured realities that have no happy ending, that have no beauty of life, have no quality of being. But the beauty in these fractures is that if you just stay where you're standing in your own world and made that little small world around you what gives you peace and grace and joy and freedom. It can be video games. It can be whatever it is for you. It can be knitting. It can be your favorite shows just for a few months. Let everything reconfigure. And just do your best not to be caught up in world events, because there are stories that do have to live themselves out now. But we don't have to be part of those stories. I promise we don't.